Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Movie Files. Elliot back again with a brand new movie review, and today we're discussing the new action thriller by the name of Those Who Want Me Dead, which will be coming to theaters as well as on HBO Max this Friday, May 14th. Now, I got the chance to check it out early, courtesy of Warner Brothers, and I'm really excited to let you all know what I thought about this new action thriller starring the one, the only, Angelina Jolie, and I'm going to let you all know if you should be excited for it all in this spoiler-free review. Before we break it down, make sure you're following me on all my other social media accounts. If you all are new to the channel, welcome to the community. Consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. That way you can get the alert from when I drop new content. It would mean a lot to me if you all can like and share this review. It helps out the channel a lot, but I also appreciate the support. And in those comments, let me know if this was a film you all were excited for. And once you've seen it, let's discuss it all in the comment section. Let me know your pros, your cons, your thoughts on the performances, the direction. This is labeled as an action thriller. Were you thrilled? Were you on the edge of your seat watching this film? Let's discuss it in the comments below. So going into this movie, I felt like HBO and Warner Brothers, it wasn't like as heavily marketed as some of the other simultaneously movies at the theater as well as streaming, but neither here nor there. I was excited for it. I love Angelina Jolie. I love this cast. Jon Bernthal. You have Nicholas Hoult. You have Aidan Gillen, and then also you have the writer and director of this film being Taylor Sheridan. Sicario 1, 2, Hella High Water, Wind River, the man's fantastic. I was looking forward to it. So what did I think about the film? Starting off with my positives, I want to kick things off with the man behind the camera, Taylor Sheridan, who again, do yourself a favor, watch Sicario, watch Hella High Water, watch Wind River. He is such a fantastic writer, but he's still kind of establishing himself as a director. He kind of reminds me in the same vein as the same way I look at an Aaron Sorkin, who is a fantastic writer in his own right, but he's also kind of newer in the direction side of things, right? And each one of these fantastic writers are still learning things in regards to becoming a director. And I think Taylor Sheridan, based on Wind River and now based on this, he's building that credibility. He's building those sensibilities to really make him into a really fascinating combo of a fantastic writer and a fantastic director. And in this film, him as a director, he's doing a really good job. He does a great job of directing his actors. This is a little bit of a bigger film in regards to the scope compared to something like Wind River. But the thing that I really love about what he does in this film and all his other films that he's written and a couple other films he's directed, all his movies have a sense of realism. All his characters feel very believable. All his films have this sense of, I'm not the world's biggest Western, but I've seen my fair share of Western films. They all have a sense of Western vibes. I think his sensibility reminds me, like every film I see of his, it reminds me like I'm in the same universe as No Country for Old Men. But then when you see like that film compared to like a Sicario, all his films have a sense of grittiness and a sense of brutality to it. So I just think he has a great sensibility to him as a writer, but also now establishing himself as a director. And I was pretty impressed by him as a director. So transition, and I mentioned that he did a good job in directing his actors. I mean, it doesn't take a lot to direct these fantastic actors, but you still have to have someone to helm and bring everything together. But Angelina Jolie, she's fantastic, man. She's as you all probably already know, she is one of the best actresses working in Hollywood, in my personal opinion, and she's been fantastic in her career. Not all her movies are great, but I always think that she brings something to the table. She always has a believable performance. And as Hannah in this movie, as someone that is considered a smoke jumper, essentially a firefighter in Montana, she's very believable. She has this particular past where, you know, she has something that happened to her that kind of ruffled her feathers, I guess you can say. But when she comes across this young boy, again, the simple premise of this film is a father and son are on a run from two assassins because the father has some very valuable information. Something happens on their journey to Montana where the boy has to fend for himself. He comes across Angelina Jolie and she has to protect him from these assassins and also a fire that's going on. So going back to Hannah's character, I believe that she had this tragedy. I believe she had this chip on the shoulder. I believe she was one of the guys, you know, she's with these group of firefighters and she has this kind of backstory, and it just felt very believable, very tangible, and just a really solid performance. This isn't her best performance of all time, but it's just so good to kind of see her back in that action thriller lane. It's been, I want to say 10 plus years. Salt was maybe the last time I've seen her in an action thriller, and of course she's getting back into the things because she's going to be in Marvel with the Eternals, but I thought she was really believable as Hannah in this film, and her chemistry with the young man in this movie, who I thought, when you we've seen this film before, and I'll get to my kind of criticism a little bit later in regards to the straightforwardness of the story, but you've seen the movie where you have a young boy or a young girl that gets separated from their parents. They come across our lead of the film, and, they have to, either the chemistry is there, it's believable, it's not believable. In this film, I feel like the chemistry between Angelina Jolie as Hannah and the young boy she's protecting, I felt the believable fact that she wants to protect this kid no matter what, just based on what happened to her in the past. So I thought their chemistry was really well done. I thought for the most part, all the actors were very believable. My man Jon Bernthal, who I mentioned up top, is in this film. And for my fans out there of Jon Bernthal, I'll just say, especially in the worlds of him being involved in the Sicario worlds, the, Wind River, he's in the film for more than 5 minutes. I'll say that, which is always welcome because I'm such a big Jon Bernthal fan. But he is a sheriff in this film, and I thought that he brought something really unique to the table and just believable as well. His relationship with his wife felt earned. It felt, very believable. And his wife, by the way, who's like a survivalist, she was fantastic in this movie. And everyone across the board just did a really good job, in my opinion. So the direction was there. I thought that the performances were very believable. The scope and scale of the film, again, when we're dealing with these fires, it felt like very real fires. I felt the tension. I felt the thrilling aspects of trying to get away from these assassins in the middle of a forest fire. And then also just to again, I mentioned the realism of how he directs his films and writes his films. These two assassins, man, something unique about the chemistry between Aidan Gillen and Nicholas Hoult. I'll talk about the performance a little bit later, but their chemistry, they felt like just like two assassins that could be really in this real world. They weren't like bubbling, crazy, goofy type of assassins. They had a mission. They had a certain camaraderie that they had of a brotherhood that I found to be pretty, a little bit different, a little bit more than just one-dimensional, villains that were just all out to kill this kid and his father. So those are some things I really thought were very positive to say about the film. Going into my negatives, I hinted at it a little bit earlier. This isn't groundbreaking storytelling. This is a very traditional story that we've seen before. And I have to say, I hate to play the comparing game, but this doesn't have the same type of grittiness as some of the other films that I've seen of Taylor Sheridan, and particularly a Sicario or even a Wind River. It has that gravitas, but not the same type of punch that you may expect in his type of film. So it did kind of miss that sensibilities I'm used to seeing in his films, as well as, there are some supporting characters that I found to be a little bit on the generic side. Tyler Perry's in this movie. I don't know why he's in this film. They literally could have casted anyone in the film. That's not necessarily a gripe, but it's just like, why is Tyler Perry? I have nothing against Tyler Perry. I respect him as a businessman and opportunities he gives to people, but he's in this movie randomly and doesn't really offer anything. I also think I mentioned the believability of the assassins. Nicholas Hoult, for some reason, I really like him as an actor, and I found him to be believable, but there was something about his portrayal as this assassin that just didn't feel, it felt a bit off. Now, Aidan Gillen as, Littlefinger for my fans out there at Game of Thrones, you can always imagine him as a bad guy, but for something about Nicholas Hoult, he just felt a little bit off for me in this film. But outside of those little nitpick things, this film, it knows what it is. It's an hour and 40 minutes. It tells this story, again, a generic story, which is probably my biggest gripe. It missed some of the gravitas that I'm used to seeing in a Taylor Sheridan film, which may speak to this film having two other writers. This movie is based on the novel, and you had the writer of the novel who was also part of the writing of this film. This is one of the only films that I can think of that Taylor Sheridan adapted from a book. Everything else he's done has been an original screenplay. So I think it might have played to this film having to be adaptation from a book that might have played into some of the stuff that didn't really work for me in regards to the originality and just feeling kind of straightforward like you would expect from a novel. So not a lot of negatives, but at the same time, this isn't necessarily like groundbreaking Taylor Sheridan type of stuff that I've come accustomed to. So that's kind of my pros, my cons. Before I give you my overall thoughts and my score, make sure to like the video, share the video, leave your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Overall, pretty straightforward film in regards to just a throwback to a simple story about surviving in the woods against a fire, as well as going against two assassins and meeting some, really believable characters. Hannah's character, Jon Bernthal, they all felt very believable in their roles, but like I said, it does lack a little bit of originality. It lacks a little bit of the punch that I come to expect from a Sheridan type of film written and directed by this fantastic creator. But nonetheless, this is a pretty solid film behind, behind everything being said in my negatives. I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5, guys. This isn't something I have to say that you have to see in the theaters, but if you have some time over this weekend, if you're looking for just a pretty compelling, thrilling kind of action film with an incredible actress in Angelina Jolie and a great writer and director in Taylor Sheridan with a pretty solid cast, give it a watch. And when you do, let me know your thoughts on it, your pros, your cons. What were some of your thoughts on the performances, the direction, as well as let me know in the comments your favorite Angelina Jolie film. Let me know that in the comments below, and let's have a discussion about it. So as always, make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the bell. That way you don't miss any of my other content. Hope you all are staying safe. Hope you enjoyed this review. We'll see you on the next video.